After months of speculation, cancellation rumors, constant delays, and title debates, we finally got the news that the show is officially being filmed, and we even have an idea of the plot. So, let's talk about it. First things first, I don't know about you guys, but what's fascinating to me is how this spin-off has been surrounded by secrecy from the very beginning. Early reports hinted at it under the working title Dutton Ranch, and some even suggested that Yellowstone would somehow stretch into a sixth season. But then, Cole Hauser himself put an end to the name rumors, saying firmly, "Well, first of all, it's not Dutton Ranch. That's not the name of it." These words made it clear that the creators are keeping this project close to their chest. Even the title is being guarded, which tells me how much they want to protect every piece of the story until it's ready to be shared. And not gonna lie, even though I find it a bit annoying, I also respect this decision a lot. But while the title remains a mystery, the location news has been impossible to ignore. Instead of Montana, where Beth and Rip seemingly bought a ranch at the end of Yellowstone, it seems like now, much of the filming for their show is happening in Texas. Reports confirm that production has been underway in and around Ferris, Texas, under the working name Rio Palo. At first, this confused all of us and even industry insiders, since Rio Palo seemed to come out of nowhere. We thought that a brand new Yellowstone show was on its way, but eventually, it was clarified that it's just a placeholder name, which is another way to keep prying eyes of ours from guessing too much about what's really being filmed. I mean, honestly, this feels a bit too much to me. I mean, if you were to reveal that this was actually Beth and Rip's spinoff that everyone has been waiting for, then why would you bother with the secrecy in the first place? I genuinely do not understand what Paramount or Taylor Sheridan have been thinking about marketing this show. But let me know what you think. Plus, we should acknowledge that the Texas filming location isn't just a small detour. Ferris houses the main residence set for the series, which means the show has committed deeply to building this world outside Montana. The move makes sense when you consider Sheridan's growing television empire. He's invested heavily in a new production facility near Fort Worth, a sprawling complex with the ability to host 4 productions at once. It's already been used for Lammon's second season, and it offers Sheridan and his team a level of control and convenience that Montana simply can't. Between cost efficiency, access to resources, and Texas's filming incentives, it's clear this is more than just a creative choice. It's also a practical one. And not gonna lie, I kind of hate this decision. I know, Sheridan wants everything to be extremely convenient for himself. And clearly, he is done with flying to Montana. Instead, he would rather cut that tie off completely and make our characters start from scratch in Texas, even though it basically makes no sense as far as the story is concerned. But here we are. What does this actually mean for Beth and Rip's story, though? Well, as I briefly mentioned, the Yellowstone finale gave us a big clue when Beth revealed she had bought a ranch of her own for her and Rip to live on. She described it as sitting about 40 miles west of Dillon, Montana, over 2 hours from the nearest airport and far from the world of ski resorts and outsiders. That detail seemed small at first, but for us who have been paying attention, it carried a lot of weight. Dillon is right in the Madison Valley, which just so happens to be the rumored setting for the Madison, another upcoming Yellowstone spinoff starring Michelle Pfeiffer. So we all thought that Sheridan is weaving these worlds together more closely, which made a lot of sense since the Madison has no apparent link to the Duttons. So having crossovers between them and Beth and Rip's spinoff would have made them more like a part of the Yellowstone universe instead of an outsider. I mean, don't get me wrong, this might still be the case. Like, we might get the filming in Texas, but in reality, the show might be taking place in Dillon. So, for instance, they might be filming in Texas for interiors and controlled environments, while heading back to Montana for the sweeping, authentic ranch landscapes that have always defined Yellowstone. Sheridan has already done this with 1883 and 1923, blending different locations to serve the story. So perhaps the Texas base is about practicality, while Montana still remains the soul of the narrative. And if that's the case, I don't know about you guys, but I might forgive Sheridan. What we do know is that the story will lean deeply into Beth and Rip's relationship. Hauser himself said, "Kelly and I were focused on Rip and Beth's relationship and our love together and what we're going to get them into. I'm excited just like everybody else. I can't wait to see what they come up with." So, they are about to endure a bunch of new challenges in their relationship, but this time, they are all alone in handling them. At the same time, Hauser admitted that stepping into this new project without the full Yellowstone family around feels bittersweet. He mentioned how hard it is to think of doing it without Forey J. Smith, who played Lloyd. Personally, I still hope to see Lloyd in this new show, since we saw him together with Beth and Rip at the end of Yellowstone. But we will see. One name we will definitely see is Carter, who is just confirmed to star in the show. We also know that the Colombian actor Juan Pablo Raba will be in the show, since they have been looking for photo doubles for him in the casting calls for the Texas filming. Other roles they have been looking for were prisoners and child actors. So, clearly, someone will be in prison, and there will be some type of a prison visit where the prisoners meet with their family members. It is rumored that Beth will be the one who finally faced justice for killing Jamie. However, the show will start with a time jump, so when we meet Beth in prison, she will already has been in there for years, and we will witness her release and starting a new life. But let me know if you expect to see Beth in prison in the first episode of this new show, or do you think she is too sneaky to end up in prison? Another rumor is that despite having Carter, Beth and Rip will dedicate themselves to having a baby, either adopted or not. But I doubt this storyline would develop in the first episode of the show. As for the timeline, the spin-off was originally planned for a November 2025 release, but Paramount has since pushed it back to 2026. No official reason was given, but considering how many Sheridan projects are in motion at once, including the Madison, the long-awaited 4/6's spin-off, the mysterious 1944, and even Y, Marshall starring Luke Grimes as Case, it's not hard to imagine why things would be delayed. For more weekly updates, discussions, and analysis on the Yellowstone universe, make sure to like and follow. Meanwhile, the video on the screen might also interest you.